VeChain's VET token has come down by 45.73% in the last few months. The question is the bull market over for VeChain, or is this just a fantastic opportunity to be dollar cost averaging into bigger positions ahead of what happens next? Guys, in today's video, we are jumping into the technical analysis on VeChain's VET token, where I'll be reviewing and sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the price action is going. As I get into today's video, guys, smash that like button. Let's see if we can hit 500 likes. If you happen to be new to the channel, subscribe and stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Let's jump right down into today's video. So here we have VeChain paired up with USDT. We're on the one-day Binance chart, and we can see that we've had a very aggressive move to the downside. A few weeks ago, I was kind of predicting out that we'll be heading down into some of these lower ranges between 2.9 and 3.2, and you can see today's price is hovering around 3 cents, and we did actually have a low earlier today of 2.985. The problem that I have with VeChain's price action at the moment is that this potential bearish move that we see right now actually has further to the downside to go, probably heading more towards 2.5. But let me break down what I'm seeing inside the charts here. So we had our initial pullback, right, where we had our swing high at 5.5 cents, and then we crashed down to 3.663. This move in itself wasn't actually terrible. It looked like a 335, and it looked pretty standard as a three-wave correction. We then had a relief rally up towards our swing high of 5.155. Okay, that's this area just here. This was on the 12th of April. We then had a move to the downside where we actually came down right inside our expected range. Essentially, basically this first yellow box that you see here at 3.1 to 3.4 cents. But we lost this area, and at the moment we're kind of pushing down deeper than 1.236 on the Fibonacci sequencing charts, and we're close to 1.382. The importance of these numbers is very important, and I cannot stress it enough. Essentially, these Fibonacci levels are telling us that we have more downside pressure here for VeChain's price action. Now, this isn't going to be immediate, and I want to take this out there in the video today, right now, so that everyone's really clear over what time frames my expectations are. The bearish move is only going to happen, in my opinion, after a relief rally to the upside, something that's going to take several weeks, maybe months to play on out. We're going to be looking for a further lower low situation here on this chart, but that's probably not going to happen for 1, 2, maybe even 3 months down the line. Although it's incredibly difficult to time the market and it's not something that I'm going to get right, I want to stress the importance that my next short-term kind of more medium-term kind of price prediction is actually a relief rally to the upside before we have those bearish moves to the downside. Let me show you why I'm saying this. So here we can see that we had an idea of a WXY, but we had to finish in this lower area between that 3.1 and 3.4 cents, which it didn't happen. So instead of a three-wave move, we end up with a five-wave move. WXY, which is where we currently are, will look for the X wave going up and then a Z wave to come on down. Okay, so that relief rally will look for the X wave to come on up. Now, you can see that this previous area of interest of previous resistances that we had seen historically speaking, specifically over in December of 2023, we found this as support back in March of 2024, and we've been dancing around this area in April, and we lost it most recently in the beginning of May. This is an area that I think we're going to rally back up towards. That is going to be 3.552 to about 3.563. We'll know more once our structures start to form out and we start to plot out exactly where we think that X wave is going. But a relief rally to the upside is kind of what my expectations are, and we'll be talking around that kind of 25 to 30%. A pretty decent relief rally, but it will be met by more downward price pressure as we look to finish off the Z wave. Now, if I take into consideration that higher range, let's say at 3.9 cents approximately, then we would be looking for this next kind of bearish movement for VeChain to be somewhere in this little range right here. And I'm going to draw this off to the side so that everyone knows this is a future play. It's going to be about 2.391 to 3.218. Okay, so I think where we are right now is a great dollar cost averaging opportunity. As you can see, the Z wave does have the ability to come down deeper, but it would happen after we actually had a bit of a run to the upside in a relief rally. And this move to the downside, really, it might even only come back down to where we are right now, and with something called a double bottom right in this upper area just here, highlighted in yellow. So for the most part, when we take a look at the price action of Vechain, we can see that there's going to be a relief rally to the upside. I expect somewhere between 25 and 30% during this run, and it could take several weeks to play on out. After that, we look for another bearish move to the downside to finish off our 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗦 pattern, and that will be the last opportunity before we get into the next big run to the upside, which in my opinion will be another 5-wave pattern. Okay, that'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 run kind of up towards our range of around 13 to 18 cent, but it depends obviously on how low we go as to whether or not we get into those full ranged targets. Okay, so it does look like a very good structure for Vechain at the moment. What we're going through right now with the 45% correction is actually very normal considering everything that's been going on in the space, and after a fantastic run to the upside. We have to consider that Vechain did rally already up to that 5.5 cent, which was 317%, and so a 45% correction isn't unheard of or uncommon in the space. These things are pretty normal and part of the parcel of kind of what's going on when it comes to Vechain's price action and of course the wider crypto market. So for the most part, Vechain looks like it's really well positioned. It looks like we have some pretty decent areas to kind of be exploring on our daily time frame. Now, why do I think the relief rally is going to be 25 to 30%? I think that's going to be an interesting area of resistance, but we also have a lot of momentum that supports that idea. You can see that we're oversold on a weekly, daily, and 8-hourly time frame, and we will be looking for progression to the upside here. If we throw on the divergence indicator, you can see that the RSI has come down very aggressively as well, with some hidden bearish divergence on the 6th of June. And basically here we are tracking the idea of coming down a little bit more and then finding momentum to support another run to the upside. Of course, that run I expect to be pretty substantial, around 25 to 30%, but it will still be short-lived. I don't think it's going to be a breakout situation where we start rallying into impulsive 5-wave patterns or anything like that. I think for the most part, we just don't have the liquidity in the market just yet to kind of support such a move, like we saw previously here with fantastic runs to the upside. So for Vechain here on the daily time frame, I expect a lot of volatility. Smart money concepts also puts us in our bullish structure still. There's no major changes of characterization indicating that we are bearish, but there are of course lots of areas of resistances on the charts. It's not going to be an easy one to kind of see us kind of play on through. You can also see a pocket of interest right here of previous demand coming in at 2.7 to 2.8 cent as well. We do have a strong low indicating that we're not likely to come down lower than the previous swing low at about 2.5 cent. That's unlikely to get broken, hence the lower side of that Z wave is very unlikely in my opinion, and the better area to be aiming for is going to be this area of overlap, which is currently where we sit between 2.9 and 3 cent. So for the most part, looking pretty decent on Vechain's price action on the daily time frame in my humble opinion. Roll this up into a weekly time frame. And you can see, I should put that back there for a second. You can see that we were targeting out 13 to 18 cent based on that existing low at 3.1. However, since we've lost that and we've come down to test out that 200-week EMA, I'm going to obviously lower this down to our expectations where I think we'll find support on the 50 simple week moving average, and I'm going to put this in actually on the low side of our argument here at around 2.9 cents. This will mean our lower expectations will be more about 12.26 to 17.17, so I'll go ahead and just adjust our targeted range accordingly. Of course, we obviously have hope that we actually rally up more towards the 29.645, which will be a 1.618 breakthrough. And that breakthrough will basically indicate that we are actually in an impulsive break to the upside, not just a corrective 535 pattern. Now, the importance of these are quite clear. If you're new to Elliott wave theory, maybe not so much, but essentially the differences are the difference between just finishing off a pattern down here at 12 to 17 cent or having a much bigger bullish market for Vechain to mirror that of kind of what happened previously. So it does look very interesting to me that we could end up with a rather large correction on a macro scale, something to this effect, where we do push those higher numbers. Obviously, that's all speculation. we know what patterns are going to emerge after this correction. The lower lows, the lower highs, although seem bearish, is actually incredibly bullish with an overlapping candlestick pattern, indicating that we are going to be looking for a big break to the upside on VeChain in the future, but we are talking several months down the line. We're not talking about anything being instantaneous, so do have some patience with this one. But guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. If you found it useful, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't yet checked out this video, what are you waiting for? Find out what's going on with XRP.